Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey. Hi, how are you, Ari? Ari, everything is so bare around you.
Yes, I am in this barren room.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of all of our furniture. We leave it. We leave our apartment in 2 days. Like, we have to be out of here in 2 days.
Yeah.
By midnight. So, and then we fly out on Wednesday. It's Sunday right now. So by the time the listeners are listening to this, I am in the UK as you listen to this.
So wait. Oh, you're in the UK by the time they hear the first episode, honey.
Yeah. I have been in the UK, y'all.
Girl, she's a local. She's a local. Well, this week, Ari, we read chapter 7 called The Ministry of Magic. What happens in this chapter?
Harry visits the Ministry of Magic for the first time.
Yeah. Great. Perfect. No notes.
Right? I'm like, that really is all it is. So the chapter starts off with Harry awakening as if someone has yelled in his ear at 5:30 on the dot. That sounds so unpleasant. I'm so sorry, Harry. That sounds like a terrible way to wake up. Also, as he's getting up and getting dressed, the photo like snickers at him. I have some questions here. Questions that will never be answered other than by Adam and myself attempting to answer them.
Canon.
How is he able to see Harry when he's not in the frame? How does that work, Adam? There's no way he has to be in the frame. It's like a window. Don't you have to stand at the window to look out into the room?
It doesn't make
the window
sense.
Of the portrait.
No, I understand.
So that was weird to me. I mean, obviously, if I like stand over here, I can still see you, but like, I don't think a picture frame works the same way.
I mean, I had a question when they talk about how, what's her name? Mrs. Black. She was like snoozing in her portrait. And I was like, why are we sleeping?
Why are you sleeping in the portrait?
This isn't even the first time that has been mentioned as a thing portraits do. I think that's like in the first book. I think it says like there was a portrait that's like sleeping.
Yeah, and all the headmasters.
It was the first time. Yes, it was the first time that I was like, why though? What do you? How do you do you get tired?
When you leave the portrait, when you leave the portrait, is it like a hallway? What's on the other side of the portrait?
What's on the other side? Is it just a void?
Yeah, you're just like in the blackness, like in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It's just like pitch black. I don't know. So I have some questions about that. How can he see out of it? Anyways. So Harry finishes, which is also weird that he's snickering at Harry as Harry's like getting dressed. I was like, you shouldn't be watching this child change, but all right. So Harry, before he leaves the room, Ron is just like completely passed out because it's 5:30 in the morning. So why would he be?
Right.
Hermione would be the one to set an alarm and be like, good luck, Ron.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised she
Hermione didn't. Yeah, but she's probably like, he's being kind of an ass, so.
Yeah. He yelled at me the day he got here, so I'm not about it.
Yeah, so valid. But Harry, as he looks at Ron while leaving the room, he feels a little sad because he's like, I don't know what is going to have happened the next time I see him. Like, will I be expelled from Hogwarts? What's the situation going to be like? So he leaves the room with that weighing on his mind and then goes down into the kitchen, which he expects to be empty, which I was like, why did you expect it to be empty? Everyone knows that your trial is today. That was a little weird to me. I was like, have a little more faith in Molly, especially.
Yeah.
What? There's no way Molly's like not going to give you some like eggs on toast before you go.
Also, he would know that she would be up because she laid out his clothes for him.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't count as a person who would be awake because she's a mother. So she's expected to be
Obviously, a mother obviously just wakes up immediately before any child does.
Yes, at dawn.
So in the kitchen, he's surprised to see Molly, Arthur, Tonks, Sirius, and Lupin are all in there. And so he's like, oh, hello. And they're all like, oh, okay. Like Molly immediately is like, breakfast, I'll make you some breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Tonks is yawning because she pulled an all-nighter. Apparently she did the graveyard shift. So she's like super tired, I guess. Fine. All of that is fine. And I'm okay with all of this. The thing that I'm not okay with, Adam, is that Tonks pulled out a chair. And while she pulled out the chair, she knocked over the chair next to it. No.
I don't even
There's no way. Do you know how physics work, Joe?
Yeah. How do
There's
chairs
no way.
work?
She literally had to be like,
right.
There is no way. She should have just said the chair collided with the one next to it or like collided with the table. I was like, no, that was too much. There was, first off, we already know that Tonks is like clumsy. So like maybe why didn't it say like she knocked over her glass when she went to move her hand? Something that's more believable.
This is very Joe's writing though. And I will say it's probably just a general trait of like writing for young people where you give a person one character trait and then you just beat the audience over the head with that one character trait until they're dead. But like,
yeah,
we are 7 chapters into this book and she has broken something or tripped over something like 9 times.
Every time. And
the average is higher than the book at this point.
Yes. And I was like, okay, we get it. But like nothing has been just like straight up not believable until this moment. There is do you know the force she would have had to exert on that chair to not, there is no way the chair next to it was knocked over.
It's not like a pogo stick that's just precariously standing on its like.
I was like distracted. I was distracted for the next like 15 minutes. I was like so upset.
I don't know what happened in the chapter. I couldn't even listen.
Something Harry goes to the ministry, I guess. But what we really need to talk about here is this chair situation. I just could not believe. I was like, no, girl. No, absolutely not. So that really bumped me, y'all. Was anyone else like?
No,
it just was so dumb. Oh my God.
I have a question.
Listeners, let me know.
Do you know what kippers are? It's a breakfast item, I assume.
I can tell you. Hold on.
I mean, you're going to have to, this is your quiz. Are you ready to move?
No. Okay, this is what I thought. I thought it was a little fish. A kipper is a whole herring, a small oily fish. So like a sardine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's like, it literally looks like a sardine. Maybe it is.
Okay.
Is a kipper a sardine? It's their version of a sardine.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, a British breakfast dish. Ooh. Well, you know what? I like fish and I like sardines, so I'm going to try some kipper.
RJ loves sardines.
Yeah. Me and RJ have a lot of the same like food preferences. Yes. We just like really intense flavors.
The pickles.
The pickle, Adam, you think I'm joking, but those are the best pickles.
I don't think you're joking.
Okay, good.
That's why it's funny.
You know I'm not joking.
It's because I know you're very serious about pickles.
Okay, so back to the chapter. Lupin asks about Scrimgeour. Apparently Tonks... Yeah, we get Scrimgeour, a little intro to Scrimgeour here. So apparently Tonks and Kingsley... he's approached Tonks and Kingsley and he's asking them like funny questions. So he's on to them. Mm-hmm. But Harry's totally fine with this because he's just relieved that like he doesn't really have to talk. He's like, please talk about something else.
Yeah.
But what he doesn't like is that Molly is fussing over him and it's like making him feel more stressed. Speaking of Molly, she also tries to like flatten out his hair, which, sorry, Molly, you're just fighting a losing battle.
When it was like she attacks his hair with a wet comb, it literally, my childhood came rushing back to
really?
me.
That was something
Because my
would happen
mom
to your hair?
would wet a comb and like part my hair for like church or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, the good old days. But then doesn't it just like, you have to put some type of product in it, right?
Not when you're a child that never showers. No. It's all just grease anyway.
Sorry. So forgot. I just totally forgot. Yeah. You're so right.
Yeah.
So Mr. Weasley is dressed in Muggle clothes. And then he finally turns to Harry, or not finally, I guess. He's the one that does end up asking Harry how he's feeling. To which Harry just... Cool. Mr. Weasley, however, is confident that Harry will be cleared, and he says very nice things about Amelia Bones, as does Tonks. So both of them are like, she's a pretty good, judge of character, whatever. She's a good one.
We're assuming it's Susan's mother.
No, it's her aunt.
Oh, it's her aunt. Okay.
Yeah. So they're like, she's not in Fudge's pocket or anything, she's pretty understanding. So Sirius tells him not to lose his temper, and Lupin reminds him that the law is on his side. And so they're kind of they're like kind of giving him a little pep talk. And then after that, pretty much it's just time to go. It's
so funny to me that they keep coming back to this, like the law. You'll be fine because of the law.
Oh, I know, girl.
Sirius Black was in Azkaban for years, and the law did not help. Like they're so like the law is always. There's a lot of.
There are a lot of things. Yeah, there are a lot of things with the law in the wizarding world that are very discomforting. So I don't know if we can really count on the law being on
laws are
side.
Just. Laws are always just no matter what. So remember that.
So Harry and Arthur head out. Arthur is absolutely fascinated by the Muggle ticket machines that Harry points out are out of order. To which Arthur's like, even still, just amazing. Just like truly inspiring. So Harry and Arthur take their mode of transportation that they're taking is the train into London, or the underground, the tube, whatever you prefer. They take the train into London, and they finally arrive at a very, after getting off the train, they like continue to walk through London until they reach a red, disheveled telephone booth. To which Harry's like, I don't think this works, Mr. Weasley. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. We find out this is a magical telephone booth, or like essentially a magical entrance disguised as a telephone booth. And Mr. Weasley talks into the phone upside down. So he's talking into the earpiece. And then he kind of explains that he's bringing Harry for his trial. He's bringing Harry for his, what do we call it, a trial?
It's his hearing.
His hearing. Okay. Mm-hmm. His hearing. And so he's like, I'm bringing a visitor for their hearing. And then they both get these little name badges. Or maybe is it just Harry? Harry gets a little name badge. I think it's just
Harry. Yeah, because it's the visitor's entrance.
Yes. So Harry gets a little name badge that says disciplinary hearing under his badge, under his name. And then after he's been given said name badge, the telephone just like an elevator, like goes into the ground.
Yeah.
And into the ministry. And here I would like to, first off, Jung-on is my bookmark. Look at him. He's so beautiful. Gorgeous. I would like to read the description of the ministry atrium, I think is what they refer to it as.
Yes, I believe so.
They were standing at one end of a very long and splendid hall with a highly polished dark wood floor. The peacock blue ceiling was inlaid with gleaming golden symbols that were continually moving and changing like some enormous heavenly notice board. First off, that's giving me astrology realness, so thank you.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
The walls on each... Oh, yeah. Wait, is that right? Yes. The walls on each side were paneled in shiny dark wood and had many gilded fireplaces set into them. Every few seconds, a witch or wizard would emerge from one of the left-handed fireplaces with a soft whoosh on the right-hand side. Short queues of wizards were forming before each fireplace, waiting to depart. Okay, so... First off, what I would like to say, I'm going to continue reading in a second, but my first thought was, well, then why didn't they just come from Grimmauld Place through the fireplace? But I understand Grimmauld Place is like their headquarters, so they don't want people to know. They can't
be on the Flu Network, I don't think.
Yes. But then I was like, why can't you do sidelong apparition to the Weasley's house and then take your fireplace with Harry?
Well, that one was because he wants him to come without magic to make it look better.
Oh, right, because that's what he's in trouble for.
Right.
Okay. Valid. Okay.
Can I just say,
yeah,
this is so different than what is in the film.
Yeah, it's very different.
Which I feel like up until now, they really tried to keep the same kind of, or at least really like, it's very similar in scenic descriptions of everything.
So like Hogwarts?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But like, this is the first time where they were like, we'll keep the gold. And that's probably about it. And then we'll do black. Black and gold is everything in the ministry.
And peacock blue, my fave.
I don't even think peacock blue is anywhere in the ministry. Is there blue anywhere?
No, not in the film. No. It's like black.
Everything is black.
Brick.
Black brick. Yeah, there's no, it's not wood.
Marble.
It's not a hardwood floor.
No, and there's not like wood paneling.
No.
Yeah. Halfway down the hall was a fountain. A group of golden statues, larger than life size, stood in the middle of a circular pool. Tallest of them all was a noble-looking wizard with his wand pointing straight up in the air. Grouped around him were a beautiful witch, a centaur, a goblin, and a house elf. The last three were all looking adoringly up at the witch and wizard. Glittering jets of water were flying from the ends of the two wands, the point of the centaur's arrow, the tip of the goblin's hat, and each of the house elf's ears, so that the tinkling hiss of falling water was added to the pops and cracks of apparatus and the clatter of footsteps as hundreds of witches and wizards, most of whom were wearing glum early morning looks, strode toward a set of golden gates at the far end of the hall. I think the only thing we get, I believe there are golden gates. And the fountain. But does the fountain have everyone? Isn't it just like one? No, wait, maybe that's not true.
I'm looking at the image right now. It's not one fountain. So there's like...
Okay.
There's like I'll send you this photo.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to look it up.
There is the wizard, and he's on his own pedestal, separate. And then there's the house elf, the centaur.
Oh, yes.
The witch.
Right.
And I think it's all four, but they're all on a separate pedestal looking toward the wizard.
Wizard.
Actually, the centaur's looking away. The centaur doesn't want to deal with this, which I'm on the centaur's side.
I'm sorry. I have to make this point. Why is the woman wizard with like the creatures essentially? I need to leave. I'm sorry. This is
But it's also crazy because I feel like in Joe's mind, she has not put any like witches and wizards are the same in this whole book series. Like she's really tried to be like, there's two female founders, there's two male founders. There's not like a distinction between the genders in the wizarding community overtly like there has been, like there is in the Muggle world.
Right.
Basically. This is like the first time where it's like written in, and it's like, but okay, that's the only reason that it would be this way. Because even in the book, it doesn't look like this in the book. In the book, they're all on one fountain, but everyone except the wizard is looking adoringly at the wizard. And I understand the creature aspect of it, because obviously wizards look down on those who aren't wizards. But by having the woman also, like, it's not like a man and a woman be the center and their wands are like held high. It was like, I was like, you're doing it without even knowing you're doing it, Joe.
She did say looking adoringly at the witch and wizard.
Oh, it does say witch and wizard? Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the creatures are looking adoringly at both of them. But there is the emphasis that tallest of them all was the wizard.
Yeah.
Holding his wand up. And of course, the witch is beautiful because she has to be beautiful. So Harry sees the fountain and he's like, if I get out of this hearing and I'm not expelled, I'm going to put 10 galleons in the fountain. Are you kidding me? Is this a joke? You could have literally given that to Mr. Weasley or Mrs. Weasley, like snuck it, I don't know, somehow snuck it somewhere.
He can only donate if he gets something good out of today. I love the idea that he's like, I'll only give money to St. Mungo's if I get through today.
I thought it was so weird that he didn't make a wish to be, you know, like, oh, hold on, I'm going to make a wish real quick so I can stay at Hogwarts.
Does he just have? Do you think he just walks around with money in his pocket?
I mean, he must.
He has.
He didn't have time to go to Gringotts.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know, girl. 10 galleons? He's going to throw 10 galleons in there. I mean, at least it's going to St. Mungo's. That's better than something else. So whatever.
A good foreshadowing. We love a good.
Yes.
I think this chapter is filled with a bunch of things that are like, remember this for later, which I think is very good.
Yeah, she did a good job of that. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, oh yeah, all of this will come into play later. Mm-hmm. And it's so subtle, which is very well done.
It's not like book 4, because some of the foreshadowing we complained about in book 4 where it was like too obvious.
Yeah. No, this is good. So there's a security wizard there who scans Harry and also kind of scans Harry's wand. And this is where I start thinking about like, okay, so are they tracking the magic through the wand? But then they would know, like underage wizards. Are they tracking it through the wand? But then that can't be the reason, because then they would have known Harry didn't cast that spell that Dobby did.
Yeah,
so it can't be through the wand.
Either way, it's a problem, because either it doesn't. Either way, book 5 doesn't make sense, or book 2 doesn't make sense. Whichever version you prefer, one of them doesn't make sense.
Right. So when Arthur and Harry are in the lift, there's a wizard that comes in named Bob.
Hey, Bob. Bob the drag queen gets on the lift.
Yeah, Bob the drag queen. With an unidentified, like crossbred animal. They don't know what it is. There.
Be nice.
He got it from Hagrid.
Her name's Monet Exchange. Be nice.
You are terrible. I would never say that about Monet. I love Monet.
I was gonna make that joke no matter what happened. So
So they don't know what it is. And I am going to HP Anxious Cannon. They confiscated this from Hagrid. So I love the paper airplanes in the lift are so cute. The messenger paper airplanes. Oh, love it. I love.
Does it say paper airplane? Because I envision them as like this. You got to look though.
Oh, that's cute.
It's like
no.
Are they paper airplanes?
It says paper airplanes.
Oh, okay.
Once again, the lift doors opened and 4 or 5 witches and wizards got out. At the same time, several paper airplanes swooped into the lift. Harry stared up at them as they flapped idly around his head. I kind of like them being birds, though, better now that you've said that.
I like,
It's like
well,
little like
it's weird because paper airplanes don't flap. That's kind of their whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. They like glide.
They glide.
Yeah, so
Joe doesn't know how paper airplanes work, but that's fine.
clearly Joe never took a physics class. That's what's happening.
Ever. Chairs, airplanes, she doesn't get it.
Yes. No. And I also love that when they're walking down the hallway, magical maintenance decides what type of weather is outside the windows, because they're not actually real windows.
He said that they decide what the weather is going to be, and that there was a period where they were trying to negotiate like getting raises. So it was there was a hurricane for 3 months.
I love that. This is the stuff I love when she does things like that. It's so great.
Yes, because that's like in a world, right? We're imagining a different world. In a world where you can just like have that power to do stuff, you would be like, it's malicious compliance. You're going to like you're like, well, I get to decide the weather and I'm mad at you, so I'm going to decide it in a negative way.
Right. Yeah, so I was like, I loved that moment. The memos, the little airplane memos into this, I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So then as they're walking down the hallway, they pass the Auror section of the ministry once they get off the lift. And they see Kingsley, and Arthur and Kingsley are talking like very gruffly to each other. And Harry like goes to say hi to Kingsley because he's like, oh, hey, buddy, like, I know you. And to which Arthur's like, stop it. And Harry's like, what the hell? What is going on here? And then they're like basically just establishing that like they're not friends publicly.
Yeah.
In fact, they dislike it's coming off as if they dislike each other, Kingsley and Arthur.
Yeah.
But then under their breath, they're like, he gives the quibbler to them, and he's like, I think Sirius would enjoy this. And then Arthur says something like, come to dinner tonight. Molly's making a roast or whatever. And then they leave the Auror's office, which is covered in photos of Sirius Black.
Right.
Which I love. I love that Kingsley is in charge of finding Sirius Black, and he sees him like 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me. I just love that twist.
Yeah.
It's great. So they continue walking down the hallway, and as they are walking further and further down, it gets like continues to get like more and more shabby until they reach like an office door and a broom cupboard. And she makes a point to say that the office is slightly smaller than the broom cupboard.
Yeah.
And so they have crammed these 2 desks and a bunch of filing cabinets in this room. And they don't even have a window.
Why even make them a department at that point? Like, why even have them be a separate department? Just have them be under magical law enforcement at that point. Yeah,
it was kind of weird. I was just like, I mean, I get what she's trying to do. That it's it's just
they don't
the
care.
Lowest of the low. No, they are just like last on the totem pole or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, then why wouldn't they just have like a cubicle? I mean, maybe they don't have cubicles here though. Maybe that's the thing. But
I guess it's more. I was shocked because again, I haven't read this in forever. That I was like, they're on the same floor as the like Aurors.
The Aurors. I had that same thought. I was like, oh.
I mean, I guess it makes sense in that the whole floor is dedicated to like law enforcement.
Yeah.
And that's technically what Arthur's in, I guess. But like, I was just like, oh, you would think that they were just in like in the back of the Department of Mysteries, there's one tiny little broom cupboard.
Yeah.
And that's what they've turned it. Yeah. Like somewhere nowhere anyone goes.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's fine. I'm not actually mad about it.
Yeah, right. Sure. Also in his office, this is another loved it moment. There is a hiccuping toaster and a pair of gloves twiddling their thumbs.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I love both. I pictured like leather gloves. Oh, it was so cute.
Has anyone ever in the world, in the history of human civilization, has anyone actually ever twiddled their thumbs? It is not a thing in which you're like, this is not comfortable. This would not be something that you would just like do absentmindedly. Like, I just feel like I have to think about doing it when I'm doing it.
I'm thinking of sometimes when I am like, if I'm like standing thinking and I have my hands at my sides or something, I'll do this. But that's not twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah. It's just like this specific like thing is such like so often referenced in like literature.
Yeah, this was an old pastime.
Like, this had to be. There was nothing else to do.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's true. I've never seen anyone twiddle their thumbs.
No. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. That's what they say.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of chill out in his office. Harry sits at the other desk because Arthur mentions that Perkins isn't in yet. So Harry can just sit there for right now. Mm-hmm. And then Arthur pulls out the copy of the Quibbler that they got from Kingsley. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll have to show this to Sirius. He'll enjoy it. And then he gets a memo about like exploding toilets, apparently, which I was just like, oh, God. But that actually sounds very realistic, that like a teenage wizard or like just like wizards that are immature would be like, let's make the toilet explode with poop. Like, yeah. Just like, of course, that's what they're doing. That's so stupid. And then Arthur refers
it's supposed to like reinforce how trivial the shit that they have to deal with.
Yeah,
literally,
right,
they're dealing with literal poop,
literal shit. Yeah. And then Arthur calls plumbers Pumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Pumbles. And then right after that, Perkins comes into the room and announces that Harry's hearing has been moved up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, how are they? This was not even a 24-hour notice.
No,
this is what purposeful. I'm saying. The law, when we were talking about the law being on Harry's side, no, it's not. It isn't.
No.
They're very clearly able to just do whatever they want to do. And so, no, it's not. Well, he's not in favor with the ministry right now.
It's so purposeful to be like, oh, you weren't here. So yeah, we had to expel you because you weren't here to represent yourself. Sorry. Like, it's obvious that that's what's happening.
Oh my gosh. I just was like, and this was another.
Yeah. Why does Perkins know?
Yeah. How did he find out? Something came to Arthur's office specifically?
Oh, maybe. Okay, sure. Maybe it was one of the memos.
But even then, why? Why would it go to Arthur's office?
I know.
They came in early just because. Like, they weren't even supposed to be there.
It would go back before that. Why would they send anything to do with Harry Potter to Arthur Weasley?
To Arthur.
Like, that doesn't...
Yeah.
Right. Period, point blank. Even if they did, whether or not they come in together is irrelevant because he's not his family.
Yeah. So weird. It doesn't really make sense. I was like, I mean, I understand them being assholes to Harry, but I was like, I don't know if like I fully buy that. Like, because then he was already 5 minutes late for his hearing. Like, that's how last minute it was. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you have to do a 24-hour notice. But then also with the wizarding world, apparently that just doesn't exist. So
no,
there are no rules.
Well, yeah.
Wild West out here.
We're going to learn this in the next chapter, but the person who's running the hearing is also going to change. It's not going to be Miss Amelia Bones.
Oh, I thought it was her.
I thought it's Umbridge, isn't it? Or is she just on
she's just there. Amelia still is the one that's running it.
Okay.
So yeah, Harry is now 5 minutes late for his hearing, apparently. And then when they're taking the lift down, a gentleman whose name is Bode comes into the lift, and they all get off at the level that is deemed Department of Mysteries. So they get off Yes, Bode. So they
It's
all get
for
off.
Bodie.
We don't know where Bode goes exactly, but I mean, obviously it's somewhere in the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah.
Mysteries. Yeah. So, and then Harry and Arthur have to go even further down because where Harry's hearing is taking place, one, Arthur's like, why the hell are they doing it down here? This doesn't make sense. But the lift doesn't even go down to essentially what's like the dungeons.
Yeah.
It's just like the dungeons of the ministry. So they're
Yeah.
going all the way down to the dungeon level for his hearing, basically. And then as soon as they get there, Mr. Weasley's like, okay, go ahead. And Harry's like, I'm sorry, you're not coming with me. And he's like, oh no, I'm not allowed in. And so poor Harry has to just go into this like dungeon courtroom by himself. And that is the end of the chapter.
It's very,
buckle up,
it's very
y'all.
chaotic at the end. And it's evident immediately that they are doing this to purposely try to make sure that Harry doesn't like win his hearing or whatever. Because also spoiler alert for next week, doesn't Albus come in like partway through?
I know. I think it's pretty quickly. He gets there pretty fast.
Quickly? Okay.
But he even addresses the same thing that we're talking about. Like he was like, oh, I just happened to be here like hours before. Because I think that's the real reason why they moved it up, because they knew that Dumbledore was going to try to be there.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, if we change the time, then Dumbledore won't be able to be. Won't be able to speak on his behalf, basically.
Yeah, and also they definitely moved it so that there was no press in there or anything, so there was no one to report on what's going on.
Yeah. 24-hour cancellation policy and 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
Standard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but yeah, that's it. That's the chapter.
That's it. Thank you so much, Ari. Next week we'll be reading chapter 8, The Hearing. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else your meeting will be shifted without your knowledge. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HP Anxious, or YouTube and TikTok at the Ampliverse. We are hosted on Anchor, and we are recorded on Zencaster, so thank you to the both of them. And we are a proud member of the Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ari.
Thank you, Adam.
And as always, Knox.